As a neurodivergent navigating neurotypical social environments, I know there are expectations that I will perform certain behaviors and do certain acts to kind of keep the social peace, to make everybody involved comfortable. When I don't meet those expectations, discomfort and sometimes affront results. An example of this is handshakes. Many people expect you to offer a handshake, for example, when you first meet them. It's a sign of respect, of social reciprocity, of acknowledgement. People even judge you on the strength of your handshake, and they perceive from that some kind of inference about you and your character or your person. And knowing all of that, I go into social interactions being willing to offer a handshake, regardless of the fact that from a sensory perspective, I find them uncomfortable. I don't really want to press palms with anybody, let alone a stranger. There is an OCD part of my brain which is like, oh, icky, gross, germs are being transferred. This is how people get contagion, is by making physical contact with people, and sometimes people sneeze into their hands and they don't wash their hands and they engage in unhygienic activities. So there's that component, and then there's the pure physical discomfort of like, ugh, I don't want to touch somebody. And if I do touch them, just like hugs, it has to be a certain kind of pressure, certain kind of context. Otherwise, it's just gross, uncomfortable, overstimulating. I still do the handshake, regardless of all of that. I've adapted. A lifetime of masking, camouflaging, and compensating has taught me that there is some necessity behind this, and that if I don't do that, somebody's going to see it as me spurning them, snubbing them. And for me to have to explain that I have sensory differences and I'm not into doing that is too much for somebody who doesn't even know me to have to metabolize. I don't want to give them evidence on a first encounter that I'm different. Not that I have a problem with that, personally speaking, but first impressions matter, and people are going to make judgments. We all do it. Human beings are judgmental creatures, and that might kind of set the wrong tone and give them a basis on which to make assumptions about me until they've gotten the chance to kind of understand me and get to know me a little bit better. After which, I do believe I can share those things, and they'll be a lot more accommodating once they've kind of taken the measure of me as a person. I don't preemptively tell them these things because I'm like, I don't know if they have the capacity to hold it. I don't know if they have the educational awareness about these issues to actually be able to make sense of it in a constructive way. So I wait, right? And somebody on further acquaintance, I think, can hold that. I will share it with them. But for the meantime, I see it as not masking, but having to modulate, to adjust my social behaviors to meet certain expectations, because I know that my success, socially speaking, is paramount for my interpersonal relationships, for my professional career, for my schooling experience. There are certain things that I'm going to have to do, certain marks I'm supposed to hit on casual acquaintance relationships. And if I don't, it can rub people the wrong way. I'll do these things to ease my way through social interactions, not because I enjoy them, but because that's me modulating, adjusting my behavior just enough to conform just enough to norms set by neurotypicals. Now, in an ideal world, maybe other expressions of greeting would be more acceptable. I remember during the early phase of the pandemic, people were doing elbow touches because it was seen to be less risky in terms of possible contagion being transferred. I was like, I could get into this. It is so freaking weird that people are doing this, but I could get into this because it's less invasive and my elbow isn't my palm of my hand, and there's less chance of me spreading germs to myself by touching my own face or whatever it is, right? It was very weird. And I think that there should be more flexibility, generally speaking, around these kinds of accepted norms of gesture, touch, behavior, social communication. And maybe there should be more latitude for other alternate ways of approaching things, especially if you're built different, if you have a different neurotype. How do you feel about handshakes, hugs, gestures of greeting or acknowledgement? Do you find them uncomfortable? Do you adjust to them, or do you just avoid them completely? I would love to hear from you.